I'm a hair mineral analysis expert. I have a background in functional medicine, and I educate people using HTMA testing to maximize health, erase debilitating symptoms, and gain energy. I'm a multi-time kettlebell sport world champion, and I'm constantly searching for high-performance pros from all over the world to bring you this human optimization podcast. My name is Pitel-Killah. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for a brand new episode of the Human Optimization Podcast. And I'm so lucky to have had these two gentlemen join me today. And wait until you hear what is coming down the pipe at Vita Biosa. So first off, we have Niels Wandler. He is the creator of Vita Biosa. And I wanted to pull something out of his introduction that was really intriguing to me, and I thought was a really wonderful quote that he used. And it was with regards to just the microorganisms of the body and saying, you know, please bear in mind that microorganisms are us. The fact is, life is unthinkable without them. If they're not alive in us and around us, we will die quite quickly. And so when we do our best to kill these microorganisms, we're certainly doing ourselves a lethal disservice. And we're going to get Niels to expand a little bit more on that. But before we do that, I want to introduce Shah. He completed his bachelor's and master's in microbiology from a leading university in Pakistan. And at that point, Dr. Shah switched to biotechnology, which is an applied field and works mainly with medicinal plants at McMaster University. So welcome. Niels, I want to talk a little bit about that quote with the microorganisms, because I think that's very powerful. You know, when we talk about, even right now, you know, with the antibacterial cleaners and the antibacterial, things you're using in your hands. And I mean, we need all of that good bacteria. And that's one of the things in, you know, Vita Biosa, right? So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's a really interesting observation. But fact is, the bacteria we have in our body, some referred it to microbiome, others to microflora. So this bunch of invisible friends have many names, but essentially is that each and every one of them have arrived our body after we were born, and they are there to help the human self get energy, get food, and maintain all the protection they need so we can have a happy life. What is meant by what was wrote is actually when we don't understand that the bacteria are necessary to maintain our life, then we are doing ourselves a great disturbance. Because without these present in our body, and that's why we have all these diseases, not only allergies, sensitivities, but really autoimmune diseases. That because of some disturbance among these bacteria. Right. They are not there, or they are killed, or whatever we have done to them. So when these bacteria, this bunch of good and visible friends, are being expelled and disseminated, we do ourselves a favor. And actually, it's what you see today. It is demonstrated very, very well in this crazy world right now. It's just because, not because that much about the virus, but it's because our system is not optimized anymore. It cannot handle natural things, because a virus is indeed a natural thing, but it cannot handle it because of we have been so obsessed with assassinating our bacteria on assembly line. The problem is not what we are doing today. I say, okay, we have to stop it, but because of our environment, which we have, the water we drink, the tap water we drink, the food we are eating, it's a process which we hardly can stop. Perhaps we can slow it down, but unfortunately, it's my personal opinion, I don't think we can stop it. So yes, that's an easy version, but you really have to culture your bacteria no matter what. And I think what is to be understood is that we need all the bacteria. we need the so-called good bacteria, we need the bad bacteria, we need them. They are essential to us. And it's essential for me to tell your audience that there is actually nothing like a bad bacteria. They have a function in the whole, and the bad bacteria, their function is to make sure that the good bacteria are getting better bacteria. So if you can imagine that little trick or tweaking, it is the essential of what is going on in the body. So every time we try to kill the bad ones with whatever, it can be antibiotics, it can be something else, then we are killing the good ones. But in fact, we are killing those two who are the foundation for making us better, our immune system better. And that's why I say when we are degrading to that extent, what you see out there, I'm sure you have a lot of your patients in that situation with a degraded immune system. It's only because of not exercising what we call constant care. Don't kill your bacteria. Love your bacteria, embrace them, and they will embrace you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so give us a little background just about Vita Biosa, because it's a very, very interesting background and how it came to be. And obviously a revolutionary product for human consumption. And so let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I thank you so much for asking, because it is fascinating. But actually, it's because I come from a very different side involving bacteria. I come from waste management. Although in my life today, I'm 71, I have done and been part of a lot of inventions used around the world. So it was not new to me when I dealt with management of waste stream to look for something, especially in water and wastewater, which could polish the water before discharge. That means which could clean up the water, polluted water. That could be processed water, municipality water, whatever. So at that time in the 19th, still, we always extract the bacteria from the contaminants of the water in this case, and propagate them and put them back again. It's a costly and long time affair, so we could only do it in that frequency. So I was looking for something, and I, by coincidence, came across a Japanese invention. So I must say I didn't invent it, the basic. No way. It will be too much to say I did. But thank you for suggesting. But I didn't. Okay. But what is essential is when you see that technology and we implement it, and we had the opportunity to use it in a bigger scale, and then we could see there was something to adjust. So sitting there and implement a little inventor cap in the 90s, it came to me that if we change some of the basics and added some other basics to the formula, and then we would see a very different result, a more inclusive result. But to get it more stable, that was the next step. And then we had to think outside the box about how to ferment, because we have a certain way of thinking of fermented food.
Right.
And they are preserving the nutrition, and they can preserve the bacteria as well. So because there are so many and they have very different characteristics, we couldn't use the traditional fermentation process. What that did was actually, with my thinking cap, was try to invent something new in an old direction. And we succeeded doing that. It took some time. It took a lot of testing and a lot of failures, but we did it. And one of the things who moved us forward was actually our access to real life issues. That means we didn't have to go to a lab and put it into a mice or 4 hamsters and in a hamster wheel to see how that they react. We actually had it in real life. So we tested not only in environmental matter, we tested in livestock, in animals. We tested in air, water, and of course human.
Right.
And here we are today.
Amazing. And yeah, so I mean, we met, oh my gosh, I think it was the end of 2019. So it's been at least 6 months now. And so I have a lot of clients using Vita Biosa. So if you're watching, this is what it looks like. And I've used it myself, as well as my husband, and my mother uses it too. So lots of family and clients on Vita Biosa and have really, really enjoyed it. It works very well. And so let's talk about how someone can use the product in the most effective manner possible. What would that look like?
Yeah, how can you keep on asking those good and meaningful questions? Thank you so much, because it's quite straightforward. It's not very complicated. It can be used in extremely many applications. It's purposeful in nearly everything you can imagine in your world, because your world is inside, outside, and surrounding. It's all microorganisms. So it can be used in all those applications. So inside, you can drink it, and then you can use it outside on the skin, and then you can do other things with it, hair and treat clothes with it. You can wash your clothes if you want. So let me go a step back and say, if you drink it, then you have to understand, or your client have to understand, the human physiology, that's a limiting factor. And that's why we have this extended fermentation process that actually deals with incorrect or inadequate stomach acid. And most people of your client do not have a correct stomach acid. So
absolutely, you're correct. Yes,
you see it in hair, you see it in eyes, you see it in how their skin is glowing. There's a lot of factors which can be related to an inadequate stomach acid, who is not actually processing the food the way it was supposed to be. So when I'm saying that, it's not just the stomach acid. What is equally important, and I'm very happy to see that finally more science is being released on the importance of the oral hygiene. Because if the oral hygiene is not good enough, you can attract all the diseases. It's not just the stomach acid who could be the mother of all diseases, but it could easily be the oral hygiene. And a lot of people, even young people, have dental problems.
That's true.
Those problems are related to some bacteria, which we can control because of our acidity. So if they just swallow it, then it goes down the esophagus, and it can actually take out the virus in an upper throat. But it goes down to the stomach acid. But if they switch it back and forth a couple of times before swallowing, then they get all the benefit in the mouth. And the benefit is, if you have good calibrated saliva, then you are start to be on the sunny side of life. If not, you start to be on the densest side of life, and that's not very pleasant, because lactic acid is formed during the fermentation process. Lactic acid is a very essential component for skin, for maintain good and healthy skin, and have lactic acid penetrate the skin into the collagens. So it have effect there, and it have a beneficial effect if you have scratches, if you have damaged skin, if you have wounds. It's actually used in up to 2nd-degree burns. If you have people with bed sore, if you have people with diabetes, people with difficulty in healing wounds, I can give you some examples later on. I can send you on people how to deal with that, and how they can heal up. And if you have infections, how you can actually heal infections of them. It all boils down to exactly the same mechanism.
And when we met, and we were talking about Vita Biosa, and that's when I first got introduced to it. And one of the most interesting things that you did that day was you put it in your eye. And you're like, even if you have, something going on in your eye, I was just like, oh my gosh, because so many things today have either fillers or unnatural ingredients and things like that. You can't do things like that with those items. And that really resonated when I realized, what the product was actually capable of.
Thank you. But you're right. If you have some infection in your eyes, or you have a little build-up of allergies and so on, and it's quite effective because the bacteria works. They are not killing and drying the eye. They are actually taking out the foundation for those bacteria or infectious bacteria. So yes, it's very good in the eye, and it works beautifully. And but I can tell you that the product is actually not mine, but a multi-consortium product. Like those products are actually tested in Europe for these features. For application in the eyes, for application on the skin, for application in the oral cavity. So all these features are in place.
So let's talk about, I want to kind of get into hearing all about milk thistle, because, so many of us are familiar, but we have an expert on with us today, right? So let's start off just by talking about liver issues, because I think today, with the chronic stress, I feel like a lot of people are dealing with their stress by consuming things like alcohol and maybe high refined carbohydrate foods, and all of that, toxins included, environmental toxins, have an effect on the liver. So let's talk about the liver first.
Basically, statistic shows that 1 out of every 4 Canadian has a liver disease, and over 7 million people in Canada has liver disease. And when it gets worse, so it become like the cirrhosis,
Right.
that the liver start damaging. And there are some signs and symptoms of this liver damage, because the stool get the stool get yellowish, and also the abdominal pains, and they have some ankle pains. But why this occur? This is because most of the time their immune system is compromised, or they weaken the immune system, or they're immune compromised. So they had a lot of liver damage due to these kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Okay, that makes sense. And so let's talk milk thistle, because, tell us why it's so important and what it can do for the body.
Yeah, milk thistle is one of the most medicinal plant in the family Asteraceae. Basically, like from history, if you see that people are using different medicinal plants for different purposes, this milk thistle, it came into the knowledge of the people it's very recent, I would say, in 2004, when they came to know that it's one of the most medicinal plants. It consists of the main compound that is known as silymarin, and this silymarin is a combination of different other compounds which act for the recovery or the treatment of liver diseases. Some of the most notable scientists, when they started work back in 2004, was Bilal Haider Abbasi, who is one of the most renowned scientists in Pakistan, and he worked in France on this milk thistle, and he found that, this is the milk thistle that is more effective than any kind of treatment or antibiotics or other kind of stuff. And it is the milk thistle that has the power to treat and to repair, I would say, the damaged liver. And then the Grant and some other notable scientists in the world, they confirmed these all kind of studies that Bilal Haider Abbasi done in France. And after that, I met the Bilal Haider Abbasi, and he gave me an opportunity. If you want to work on this milk thistle, and it's one of the most medicinal plant, and it is like helping in the liver treatment, I said, wow, it's a great opportunity. And then I worked and I confirmed all the previous studies of this milk thistle, and I also performed some of these essays in France to confirm whether it's really that milk thistle that works against that works for the repairing or the for the treatment of the liver. So this is one of, I would say, in all the medicinal plants, it is one of the most interesting, and it has one of the most power of repairing the liver, damaged liver.
Wow, that is incredible. And the findings, I mean, that's just, it's undeniable, right? When we're doing studies upon studies and the findings all come back the same. So let's kind of talk about the merging of you two, working together, and with regards to Vita Biosa, and then we'll talk a little bit about supporting the functionality of the body, because I think that overall for me, that is the key, because it leads down the road to longevity and ultimate health, right? So let's touch on that.
Vita Biosa, whether it's the original with the wine card herb blend, 19 adaptogens, or the chaga, is two very powerful and very perfect products to alleviate nearly all the stuff which possibly can go on in the stomach and in the body. So as I said in the beginning, I already for years had an eye on thistle. I have heard about its contribution to repairing a liver and antioxidant production and other stuff. And I know that the herbs can do a lot. On the other hand, we can add more efficiency to our product that way. I would certainly do it anytime, because the crossover between this extra development of fermentation processes in one and things like thistle is something we master extremely well. That being said, it's about when the opportunity suddenly opens there. You know, we met up in Ottawa. Sometimes you meet something and then you can pass on, but sometimes you stop up, you sit down and think a little bit higher. Just elevate yourself a little bit higher. Then there is a lot of things going on, and there's a lot who can evoke to open the door and invite in to you. And here we have Musamil today. Musamil will be and is a part of us, in a sense that we are Vita Biosa in all its application is categorized as a food, a very healthy food. And I like it that way. But we have to realize that slowly we are stepping into more than just a healthy food, because customers have some specific needs, some specific questions. And when we go in there in a more public space, then we have to be very mindful of how we express it. But we wish to establish a part of Biosa into a more holistic health sector, a more openly health sector. We are very grateful for Musamil, who not only bring knowledge into, but bring enthusiasm and laughter and happiness with him into the whole process. And I think that is essential to make a good product, to make something which can work on a healthy level with people. That the product is smiling to you and you can smile back to the product.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Then you start to live life, but you both have to smile to each other and be mindful of that we are in it together. People can have a disease or they can have a sensitivity that we can do, but we can only do it if they are prepared and open up to let our product do it.
I love the fact that you just mentioned kind of that resonating with the products you're using, because it's we forget about the energy, right? That is the body, right? And we forget about that a lot.
I confirmed some of the activities of these milk thistle, and the first one was antioxidant, and I performed 4 different tests to confirm the antioxidant activities of this milk thistle. And then I performed some of the anti-inflammatory activities of this milk thistle, and then even the anti-aging activities. And I performed 6 different assays to perform and to confirm is this the milk thistle that is like has a sort of great potential. And even back in McMaster University, we have a collaboration with Johns Hopkins University to confirm this milk thistle product has antibacterial and antiviral capability. And the way we have like manufactured it, because the Vita Biosa, maybe you're familiar with, we make the product mostly in a low pH. I would say slight acidic pH, 3.3 to 3.5, which the scientists consider as one of the best pH for fermentation. And when we take like this product, even the milk thistle, we made the same, like manufactured this product in that pH 3.3 to 3.5. And when you take it, when you drink the Vita Biosa, so it goes to the stomach, and a normal stomach has that like slightly acidic pH, and it can easily withstand with that acidic pH, and then it goes to the intestine and absorb in the small intestine and the capillaries, and then it reaches to because every those target, I would say, those have inflammation and those have some sort of that need repair and some burning. So this product reaches there because it has all the capabilities of repairing and for a good health, I would say.
And even the liver, because it's a filter organ. So
absolutely,
as Musamil pointed out, is so essential, because mostly from a cleaning up point of view or detoxifying point of view.
Yeah.
Because we know that the herbs are actually providing it with an ongoing detoxification. That means it detoxifies as you go on. On the other hand, if you have a damaged liver, which a lot of people have, then what we expect this product to do is to be capable of adding this dimension, not only to detoxify, but at the same time use these pathway in the liver, which we have, to use them to repair the liver as well. But it's not the same as saying, if you do this, you can go on with your lifestyle, as you mentioned.
Right. That is a very good point. Yes.
That is what you have to go in, and you have to actually have people consider their lifestyle, because we can do that much, but it's not a golden bullet.
That's
but what we can give them is a happy life if they are prepared to get a happy life.
Right.
Yeah, let me one thing add here more. Like most of the people, they are attacked by the viruses just because of they are immunocompromised, or they have a weak immune system. So I would say not any antibiotic or anything can help until and unless your own immune system is so strong that it is capable of fighting with the foreign invader or the foreign viruses. So this product basically, it strengthens your immune system, it strengthens and it boosts and motivate your internal microbial flora, normal flora, that can fight easily with any foreign invaders or viruses, bacteria, whatever it is. Yeah. Like recently, if you take an example of the coronavirus, why the people are like in a bad condition, because they are immunocompromised. Their immune system is not in a strength so that they can fight those viruses. So what Vita Biosa mostly like provide is to strengthen your own immune system with these antioxidants.
Yeah, and when we talk about anti-inflammatory as well, so important because I'm in the mineral world, and as soon as we're stressed, which we all know, we're a chronically stressed society, that raises sodium, and hence we have excess inflammation in the body. So we see that in so many different individuals. So really, really important with that anti-inflammatory property that's there with this particular product. So
now you just touch an issue.
Oh, share.
Just an issue, of course. So now Musamil is here, but we have what is coming up now in science be more published. You will see over the coming years that they will do fine. But since the dawn of Biosa, we have psychobiotics in our product, and and that actually alleviates stress. And how do we know that? Because we come from the livestock field, so we know how that reacts in livestock.
Right.
You know how that reacts if people have social stress, if they have performance stress, and that. So we know a lot of these psychobiotics, how they work in our configuration. But it's something which is addressed by probably all your clients and in the society. And science today, established science, down at the university, wherever you find them.
Yeah.
They are now looking into psychobiotics, but it's just a part of Biosa. It's just a part of the whole, and we know how that works, and we know how that stimulates the brain function, and that is very essential to say, because one of another issue in our society, in our Canadian society, is young people with anxiety, with stress, with performance problem. Because not only do they have to get into adulthood, they want to dance, they want to have a beer, they want to drink, they want to party. And at the same time, they are expected to do their utmost to study and to pass in no time, because it's a money factor, it's a family stress put it on them.
Right.
So I'm happy to say that I think our product can actually help a lot of these young people with all these problems. It can actually relax into a concept here, to a sense that they get to see the world they are in a clear sense, and understand the component without one component overshadow another component. Right. It's okay to have stress. There's nothing wrong with it. It's okay to get out of a party all night. And it's okay to be tired when you have to study. But on the other hand, if you, as you said, it's energy, it is right digestion, and then these psychobiotics place it in the right place. How they do it, I don't know. Do I want to know? Yes, but I don't really have to know, as long as they're doing it. So I think that is an important issue, because I can see, I can hear, I can read that is one of the modern diseases. So with young people already 18, 19, and 20 have these difficulties, then you can see how that will trickle down their life. Absolutely. And produce no happy life. And
and that's so young.
You imagine live a life, a hot, unhappy life. We only have this one life. So what about getting the best out of it?
Just kind of brings things back into perspective. And, and there is so much stress when you're a young adult. We want to get older. We want to be an adult. We want to have our job. And I mean, there's so many changes that happen. And I mean, realistically, when you're, even 25 or 26 years old, you're still so young. You've got so many years to make all those decisions. So take your time and enjoy it. And so I want to talk about the product, because we're almost out of time. Where can they get your new product? When is it going to be out? When can I expect to be able to try some of this? Because I'm excited to do that.
I'm very grateful for the opportunities you have provided. and we will make sure that they can come to your website and they can buy the product from your website, or they can always contact you and they can write me, whatever, and
Absolutely.
I will make sure that they will get the product and you can then make the arrangement with your customers. We are very much out in USA, down California, up along the Pacific coast, and very well represented in BC and Alberta, but less in this part of the world or in Ontario. Demographic is different, honestly, and I cannot go out, and that is one of the things, but I cannot go out and say my product is the best in the whole world. I think it is, but because of who I am and what I have done, it's not about selling thousands and thousands of liters and be happy and have a sale go down. It's about much more. Right. It is every product comes from my facility with a kiss. And I don't want to, because it's a living product, I cannot have that my product leave my fermentation process in a bad mood. No, that is not
true. Yeah.
So it is not for me to say it's the best in the whole world. I can give you a lot of information, all based on the whole world, but it's not the same as everybody is the same. Everybody is unique. Everybody is different. Everybody have to sense my product and all the capabilities embedded in each product. But back to your question, where can I get it? Yeah, we are on our way. We try to get more stores into the product, but you are the front runner in Ottawa and Canada. So let's face it, the world is yours.
Well, I'm definitely going to embrace it. Like I said, I've had really, really great results. And that's one of the reasons I wanted you to share a little about the science, because I think a lot of us miss some different things, especially when, again, we're in that antibacterial mode and we're not thinking about all the microorganisms and how important they are to us and how much they can do for the body in helping us and be supported with the functionality. So I think that's really important. So I will definitely include some links on how people can get in touch with yourself and myself if they have any questions. And again, I just wanted to thank you both so much for joining us today. And so last quick question, because with regards to the milk thistle being integrated into Vita Biosa, is it going to be in our original formulas that we already have and just updated? Or is it going to be a completely new formula?
Another good question. It's fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, it will be in the beginning until it will be in its own formula.
Oh, okay, perfect.
And the reason is that it's something for Musamil to study, because both of them have very high context of antioxidant and detoxification capabilities. So the only thing we don't want is to overload.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So, very important. Yeah.
So for a start, then it will have its own formulation, and it will be in a bottle like you see, but instead of chaga, you will have this.
Perfect. Well, I am super excited to be able to get my hands on that when it's ready. And so just want to thank everybody today for joining us. Thank you both so much, gentlemen. And for those of you listening on your favorite podcast host, make sure to give us a like. And if you're watching us here on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I have a brand new podcast here every 2 weeks. And give us a thumbs up if you like this episode. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to today's show. Head over to Pitel-Killah.com to gain access to some amazing free resources that will help you gain energy, erase debilitating symptoms, and be the best version of you. Remember to give this podcast a like and follow me on social media at Lisa Pitel-Killah. I'm here every 2 weeks with a brand new episode of the Human Optimization Podcast. Until next time.